Hey, everyone out there. Welcome to Shoot the Shhh. If this is your first time being here, I really appreciate you joining us to see what we're about here. Um, but when it comes to this channel, it's really all about you and the community. Exactly what things is it that you need? So this is why I've created the check-in. So Wednesdays at 12 or 12:30 time frame, I'm going to check in with you guys just to kind of make sure you're staying up to date with your firearm safety and awareness, and just making sure you have some tools to keep you guys safe. So that's what it's all about right now today. So if this is your first time joining, please go ahead and press that subscribe button because I obviously want you guys to stay tuned and making sure that you get all the tips and knowledge that you need. We have lots of great content out there. And if you also first time joining, you just subscribe, don't forget to press the notification bell, because if not, you won't get notifications of things like this when I go live on Wednesdays at 12 or 8 p.m. on Fridays. So again, welcome. I appreciate you guys joining, and thank you so much for a thumbs up. We really appreciate that too, because when it comes to that, other people seeing that other people like the video very much helps other people to go ahead and check it out as well. So without further ado, why am I here today? Today's topic is very much just about, just kind of help you guys be a little proactive instead of being reactive to some sort of attack or some sort of situation that happens. So the goal is just making sure you guys are prepared. I want you to be proactive, not always reactive. So when we think about that, what does that really look like? I'm not saying that you should go out there and get some tactical training and get prepared for a shootout or anything like that, because God forbid, I really hope that none of you guys ever have to do something like that. And we'll just leave that to the professionals. But as everyday citizens, there are some steps and some tools that we can use on an everyday basis that will keep us safe and try to limit the chances of us getting into a serious altercation. So for starters, thinking about situational awareness, just being around in your area, just paying attention as you are out and about doing things. Lots of us have a normal routine, okay? So sometimes switch up that normal routine, but also be aware of what changes looks like in your environment. So, maybe you might notice someone doing something that looks a little unsafe, or maybe someone looks a little suspicious, and it's hard to say who looks suspicious or not, to be honest with you. I mean, no one is actually a criminal until they actually commit the crime. So what they look like really doesn't dictate what they're going to do. So that is one that's a little bit hard to discern. But the more you pay attention to your environment, the more you get an understanding of what people look like and act like in your environment, you can start to notice some things that would be a little bit off or a little bit different, I should say. So staying noticed of those things. One thing I noticed the other day in the car, I was like really surprised. I'm on the highway and it was a bit of traffic, and I'm looking over to my right and I see a young lady driving in her car and she had Beats headphones on. I was like, who does that? Why is she driving with Beats headphones on? I mean, I don't wear the things, but I have tested out. My daughter has some and she wears them all the time. But we instruct her to not wear them while she's out and about because they are noise cancellation. You can't hear anything outside of them things you have them on your ears. So I don't know if she had it on both sides of her head or she just had it on one and maybe pushed to the side for the other. But my thought process is situational awareness. She would not have known if someone was coming up and beeping or trying to flag her down or anything like that because she was so into whatever she was listening to on her headphones. And I thought that was very unsafe to drive in that situation. Of course, I don't know the through and through and the ins and outs because I wasn't in the car with her, but just observation, that was a little bit unsafe. So yeah, and the thing about it being legal or not too, James, great point. Definitely a great point. And so it's one of those things where we want to minimize the distractions we have. So just thinking about those Beat headphones and you're walking, you're taking a walk. It's not illegal to listen to them while you're taking a walk on a hike or whatever. But thinking about what that looks like. If I am a robber or someone who means you harm, that would be a perfect victim. So we need to do everything we can to prevent from being a victim. And for starters, don't look like one, right? So how do we avoid that? One, we are diligent about making sure we see what's going on in our surroundings. Lots of times, the element of surprise is what the person, the attacker, wants. And if they can't have an element of surprise, then they're 9 times out of 10 is going to pick someone else who's not as vigilant as you may be to pay attention to your surroundings. So basically, if you see them coming, chances are they might decide to go somewhere else. Okay. It doesn't happen like that all the time, but that is a deterrent. So if they see you focus on your headphones or you're listening to that or you're into your phone or whatever, and they're like, okay, this person's distracted, perfect time for me to attack. So being mindful of maybe not walking and texting, maybe you sit off to the side somewhere where you're back against the wall while you text real quick and then continue to walk, things like that. Or take a moment to do that before you get out of your vehicle or before you leave out the house. But while you're coming from to and from one place or another, try not to have distractions. That's what my goal is here. Making sure you guys minimize the number of distractions that you actually have on your day-to-day business. Because as a person who's an attacker, you look like the perfect victim because I want the element of surprise, right? Now, thinking about trusting your instincts, a lot of times people kind of miss this step because I don't know how, I mean, even myself, I fall like such in a bad place all the time because I don't listen to my instincts sometimes. I mean, it's something so simple. We all have what's called intuition, and we have this gut feeling a lot of times, and we don't listen to it. And I'm definitely a person that doesn't sometimes. And I get mad. I basically kick my own self when I say that. I mean, my daughter gets to me all the time, Mommy, why didn't you listen to yourself? I told you to listen to yourself. Because sometimes I'll go into the store and I'll grab some things and I'll come back home, and then when I get home, somebody asks me for something and I'm like, oh man, I should have grabbed that. I knew I should have grabbed that. And my daughter's like, Mom, why you ain't listen to yourself? So just little simple things like that might be a good start and good practice for you. So take my advice there when it comes to that. Please listen to your instincts. Your gut is usually never wrong, honestly. In most cases, it's not wrong. So just listen to it and just act on it if you need to. If you feel like you're in an unsafe situation, 9 times out of 10, you are. If you feel like something's a little bit, weird going on, 9 times out of 10, it is something a little weird going on. So please don't ever just kind of, second guess yourself. Go with your gut, and it will probably do a very good job of keeping you safe. Most people would definitely say that it's a spidey sense, like a superpower or whatnot. But I would say, yeah, it definitely is. And it's right. Thanks so much for joining, James and Mike. I'm really happy that you guys are here, and I love your input. So thank you so much. So I guess you have the same, experiences, Mike, with that intuition speak to you, and it's 9 times out of 10 definitely right. So when it comes to safety habits, keep practicing listening to your gut, and it will become second nature to you. At one point in time, I really focused on that and trying to, even if it was something so simple like, I just got in the car, maybe I should stop for gas now instead of stopping for gas later. Or maybe I should grab these certain items before I leave out the house. It's something so small like that. I've seen it play against me when I didn't. The times that I didn't stop and get gas is the time I might have got stuck in traffic, and like crazy traffic. And I'm like sweating bullets because I'm afraid if I have enough gas to even get to where I'm going, type of thing. So listen to your gut, and it will go a long way, and continue to practice it. Just be very conscious of that. Pay attention to that. It doesn't matter how small it is. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it, basically. So you can also do things like make sure you have equipped with you like a flashlight for like nighttime if you're out and about, making sure that you have like a small little flashlight tangible to get to. You can have little things in your vehicle. Be mindful of scanning the surrounding as you're going to and from, especially when you're going in and out of your vehicle or in and out of your home or in and out of work. Paying attention to your surroundings goes a long way. So basically take that moment to not have any distractions like our phone and go ahead and scan the area, and constantly scan the area as you're going to and from. And then, especially with our ladies out there, if you go ahead and have your keys in your hand as you're going to and from, not to say men don't fall victim to this too, but it's one of those things that a lot of times we'll have things thrown in our purse. And if your purse looks anything like mine's, I tell you what, I can't find nothing in my purse. So I basically have to dump everything out just to be able to find things in my purse. So I don't rely on my purse to hold things that is extremely important. I try to put things in my pocket or in my hand because I know I'm not going to be able to find it as quickly as I would like. And that's another reason why I don't depend on having a concealed carry in a bag. Because I know, again, I'm not going to be able to find it as easily or get to it as easily as I would if I had it on a holster on my hip or, wherever I decide to conceal carry it that day. So always having it on my body is where my comfort is. I don't want to have it in a bag just for easy access. So keep in mind that, you have to set boundaries as well. When it comes to certain things, like I've noticed there are cultural differences. America's a big melting pot, right? But there are some cultural differences. And that might be somewhere like, I don't know, at a store, and there's someone who's behind me in a line and they're just standing a little bit too close. I literally take that moment to say, hey, excuse me, can you just step back a little bit? I might actually start to try to scoot forward just to see what they do. And if they take a step forward too, I'm like, okay, look, sir, miss, can you just take a little step back? You're a little bit too close for my comfort. And I literally tell them this because I'm setting those boundaries to let them know that you're in my personal space and I don't appreciate it. And culturally, where you're from, that might be okay, but where I am, it's not. So you're my personal space, back up, type of thing. So you may have to say that. And that is a little bit uncomfortable, but if you do it often enough, it'll become a little bit more comfortable for you. I mean, everybody's different about how they feel about talking to strangers. But me personally, I have to set those boundaries no matter how uncomfortable I may be about having those conversations. And of course, you don't want to come off offensive. So I definitely don't want to come off offensive and, being disrespectful. So it's just a kind way of saying, excuse me, sir or ma'am, can you just like give me 50 feet, like back up a little bit? So when it comes to that importance of safety networking, it's all about trusting people know where you are. So many times before, my parents would go out of town and they're like, oh, I just want to let you know that we're leaving such and such time and we're going to be at such and such place around such and such time. And it's interesting because I've had some friends of mine that tell me, wow, your parents actually tell you what they're doing. And I'm like, yeah, we have this whole connection here. We got to let each other know, because I want to make sure you get to your location safely. So I'm going to check on you if you haven't arrived at that location when you say you're going to get there. So it could be a delay at the airport or anything. Could have been traffic on the way there. Anything like that could have been a delay. But just in case there is an emergency, at least we have a reference of where you started from, where you were on your way to, and we have a certain direction to look for you in case there was an emergency. So use that network of people that love and care about you. Let them know where you're going to be, especially if you're traveling out of town. Please don't just, go and don't nobody know where you are. Now, that's not to say you should post this on social media. That's another thing I want to make sure you guys are aware of. Social media can be beneficial for many things, but our safety is one that I'm always conscious of and concerned of. If you look at any of my social media platforms, you won't see me posting my kids and where me and my family had family vacation and, oh, we went to this activity and this event. If you see anything like that, it's going to be way after the fact. It's never going to be while I'm there. I have a problem with that because people tend to pay attention about those little details about where you are at that time. Perfect example to hit your house up if they know where you live, right? So little things like that, take notes of that and pay attention to those things and try to do things just a little bit differently. People don't need to know where you are exactly at that moment. It's not necessary. You can sure enough, leave the event and then once you get home, post that you went to this event and show everybody your beautiful outfit, how your hair look, your makeup and whatever, how much fun you and your family had. That's great. Share those experiences, but don't share it at the moment of. So when it comes to mental health preparedness about this or mental preparedness of this, it's more so about you taking baby steps of practicing. So just piece by piece, do little things. Like, again, listen to your intuition. Do your safety checks, your surveillance. Take a look at all of those things as you go. Thank you so much, Beandra. Hey, 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 lady. So I appreciate you joining again. So it's one of those things where I just want you guys to be mindful that we can't live in fear. I don't want you guys to live in fear because so many times before we, see what's happening on social media, we see what's happening in the media, and it makes us feel fearful to go out and do things. I want you to live your life to the fullest. Honestly, I mean, you really cannot say that you're living if you're just surviving. You can't honestly say that you're living if you're walking in fear. So, some of the things you can do to prepare yourself is those small little things, paying attention to your surroundings, setting those boundaries if someone's walking a little bit too close to you. If that means you got to cross the street so they won't be on the same side of the street with you. I remember doing that as a teenager growing up in Southeast. I'll see a group of guys on one side of the street. Well, I'm walking on the other. I cross the street. And I taught my little sister the same thing. Come across the street with me and we gonna walk on this side. Let them guys be on that side. And of course they holler, hey, hey. And I'm like, y'all ain't talking to me. I'm just keep moving. So of course I get every name out the book because that's just what it's like there. But at the end of the day, setting those boundaries, you're too close. So I didn't have to say anything to them. I just removed myself from that uncomfortable needing to walk through a group of guys that's just standing there on the corner. So it's one of those things that you have to figure out your situation and know exactly how to pivot and move from that. So Beyonce said, even flying, she's still going to fly and put in a God hands. That's true. Also pray. If you guys are God believing people out there, pray. I do the same thing. That's one of those things that I'm a believer. I tell God thank you every day, and I just ask him for his guidance and that I'm in line with his his goals and his direction for me. And that's one of those things I feel a little bit safer too when I know I have made that connection spiritually. So just walking in faith, basically, right? So when it comes to that situational awareness, some of the things that we also can do is do little exercises to practice. If you watch any of my other videos about taking a firearm out of a holster or any things like that, or practice at the range, if firearm is your choice of self-defense, then I would strongly encourage you practice those things as much as possible. Even some less than lethal options, whether it's a taser or baton or a pocket knife, any of those things, practice on a regular basis, taking it out of wherever place you may have it, making sure that it's exactly where you wanted it to be, making sure you can access it quickly and utilize it quickly, because at that moment you want to be able to just react. You don't want to have to think too hard about what your actions have to be. But I want you guys to be in familiar routine of having that proactive, mindset. And especially considering you have fight or flight. So if you've never considered these options during that moment, you might go to a panic and may freeze. And that freeze might be something that costs you your life. But if you've already proactively thought about some of these things and paid attention to your surroundings, they'll give you a couple of more seconds to be able to react to a situation. So those are always little key things to help you on a regular basis that I really hope that is beneficial for you guys. So as I'm wrapping this up here, the goal is really just to make sure you guys are not a victim. And being assured that you're not a victim is just being proactive and being aware, and don't and minimize your distractions and pay attention to that intuition, right? So one small safety habit that you start, you can actually start it today. A safety habit of making sure that you lock your doors as soon as you get in the car. Lock your door behind you as soon as you walk in the house. Don't wait. Don't put the bags down. No. Lock it immediately. Something small like that. Because what if somebody is following you and you didn't notice because you were carrying too many bags and you just were, preoccupied trying to rush to get to and from wherever you're going and didn't pay attention behind you that someone was following you. So just that off chance, you can assure your mind that at least the door was locked. So those are little safety habits. I know one of the things I do before I get in my vehicle, because I have tinted windows, I'm scoping my vehicle every time I'm getting in my car to make sure ain't nobody in there already. And I know it sounds like, it could sound like overkill for many people, but that is a routine that I've developed, especially considering I have my kids with me a lot of times. I don't need nobody waiting for us when we get in the car. No, I need to make sure nobody's in there when we decide to step foot into that vehicle. So those are little small little things that would kind of go a little ways to help you be proactive and live your life to the fullest, and don't live so much in the fear factor of what's going on all the time, all around us. So, James, you said I got to get on my 75-year-old mother daily about locking her doors. Hey, James, definitely get on her about locking those doors. Just her age alone makes her a possible potential victim. Because people be sleeping on our elderly, okay? Our elderly lived a life a long time before us, and they have some skills. So mom might got some skills to defend herself, but why even put herself through it? Definitely lock your doors. So, and that's the thing. Sometimes people are getting caught up in, I know my neighbors, I know my community, and I feel safe in this environment. But those are just the neighborhoods that people who mean us harm try to hit. A lot of what we call is a good neighborhood is the same neighborhood that gets break-ins and things like that happen often, because people are lax in those quote unquote good neighborhoods. So keep her in prayer, and keep her in mind about that just because she's a woman and she's 75, that already makes her a target. So she needs to do her part in paying attention to her surroundings to keep her safe. Share this video with her. Maybe I can help. It's one of those things. Sometimes, parents don't want to listen to their kids, but they might listen to a stranger. So hopefully I can help with that, James. So do you guys have any questions for me about any of these things, or any other tips that you would like to add? Because I'm curious to know what things you guys do on a regular basis to keep yourself safe. Let's see, James, you said she's from South Carolina, used to leave the door open everyone did. Yep. She lives in New Jersey now. Oh, yep. Total different way. Yep. Definitely totally different lifestyle. So, yep, living in the South, people are a little bit more friendly and people leave the doors open and things like that. But you're right, moving to a city, not the best idea. People do not mean us well in many cases. So, and I just pray that, she will be protected regardless of what her choices is with that. Because sometimes it just is habit, but she needs to create a new habit because she has a change of environment. So I really hope that she gets that at some point. But anybody has any tips for me about how you guys keep yourself safe on a daily basis, I would be very much interested to hear what you have to say. Even if you're not looking at this live, even if you're looking at this later, put in the comment section so we all can learn from each other. Because honestly, I don't have all the answers, not all the time. No, I don't. You guys do a great job at keeping me hip as well and teaching me every day. So I'm always grateful for the insight that you guys have. So, yes, Beyondre said definitely people normally keep their doors open in the South. I've definitely experienced that quite a few times visiting family and whatnot in the South. And I'm like, y'all didn't lock your doors? Like, me coming from DC, you better lock a door. So you get an unwanted gas real quick. So when it comes to the phone scams, Beyondre, you made a good point there. So identifying who I am on the phone when people call, oh, is this such and such? I'm like, who is this? What you want? Kind of thing. Before I'm confirming who I am. I mean, those are things right there. And then the scams on the phone that, they want to, out of curiosity, am I the only one getting a billion scam calls a day? Like, I really feel like they constantly calling and bugging me to death. Like, I wish somebody would do something about that. Our government needs to fix that, because I'm really getting tired of these scam calls all the time. And it's crazy because it's like sometimes there's nobody on the phone. Sometimes there's people on the phone and a whole bunch of noise, and it be people with different accents and things like that. So, okay, so James, I'm not by myself. I'm glad to know I'm not by myself on that one, because it's annoying. And honestly, I just started blocking them, and eventually I won't get as many calls. And then eventually they find my number again. I'm like, why do they keep getting my information? What is going on? But again, I want to leave you guys with just implementing a small little change in your daily routine, whether that means to listen to your intuition, maybe lock your doors behind you, or whether it's set your boundaries with a perfectly good stranger who's walking a little bit too close. But just start doing those little tiny things, and I guarantee you, you will probably feel a little bit more at ease about just being out and about and doing things. So I hope this little check-in helped you guys stay prepared. being proactive instead of reactive, and definitely preventing you guys from being a victim. So I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday. I'm sorry, today's Wednesday. I look forward to seeing you guys on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, put in the chat box area if you have anything to add about any safety tips. And please, if you haven't already, subscribe, like the channel, and also make sure when you subscribe, press that notification bell so you'll know when we do go live. What I think about Trump, James? I have very mixed feelings. I don't believe no one person is all bad. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to say that I feel like many times that President Trump is one that means well to help others, but he has some extreme tactics to go about how to do it. So a lot of what we may hear on the front line of the media, I've learned to wait before passing what I consider my judgment on it, and doing a little bit more research about it, of the why things are happening this way or why he's implementing things that way, before I start to get all upset. Prime example, the situations about the jobs, people losing their jobs. It's a very sad and unfortunate. And I know a couple of people actually who have been in this situation where they've lost their job, or maybe considered to be losing their job due to the changes that are happening within the government. And it is very sad and unfortunate these people are losing their jobs. What I understand on the flip side of this is that there are many people who there are many people out there who has these positions and who are really not working, and we're paying $60,000, $80,000 a year for these jobs that aren't really doing much. So those are things, when I started paying attention to stuff like that, I'm like, okay. Or the whole thing about our budget, how we're overspending with certain things. So I see why maybe some of these things were implemented. It's just a harsh way about going about it. Maybe it could be done differently. But you're definitely right about a comedian turned politician. Definitely. I did look at a little bit of what his announcement was yesterday, and it was quite interesting. I will say I do appreciate the enlightenment of letting us know what things are happening, what things are taking place, and what type of proof he may have towards why he's made these decisions, or. But it's hard to even believe anything that anyone says when this person is always exaggerating. If you pay attention, everything he says is the biggest, the best, and the best in history, or the biggest thing in history. And I'm like, every single thing you do, sir, cannot be the biggest in history. So that's what makes me a little skeptical. But nonetheless, again, not doing all bad things. Some things are for the best. It's just some really terrible tactics, I feel. But there are some things that I feel, even for my own home, I feel a little bit grateful of him implementing certain things, as far as like in the school systems with this whole gender identification thing. That was a worry of mine. And for my kids, having daughters and being worried of them going into bathrooms with men who consider themselves to be women and things like that. So those type of things definitely are huge. Mad woman, you're right. Everything is huge. So, but those are little things like that I really do take and say, okay, that was a good thing. Maybe this other thing right here, maybe not so good. Our airplanes was going down like crazy, but trying to save America some of the money that we're in debt. I guess I get it, some extreme measures. I guess that's the only thing I could say. So we're all sitting here on a ride. It's a roller coaster. So we'll see which way this goes. But until we meet again, you guys stay safe. I look forward to seeing you guys very soon. And I do have some more edits coming out. I'm sorry I'm moving a little slow. Had a lot of things going on at once. But now I've finally been able to get back to editing. So I'll have some more videos coming out soon as well. So I look forward to seeing you guys' comments and see what you think about them. So you guys stay tuned. See you next time.